Well, good morning, church. Welcome back to a beautiful Sunday morning. I believe it's getting a little bit warmer, right? So we don't have to wear that many layers. But it's so good to be in the house of the Lord. Today, we are continuing with the way of the brave. Can all my ladies say, hey? It's so awesome. Today we are joined by the beautiful Dr. Gladys, and she will just be sharing her journey and her testimony with us. So let's just get started and just let us know, tell us, about your testimony, and then we will just continue from there.
Thank you, Ste. Good morning, everybody. Just as Ste introduced me, I'm Dr. Gladys Osigwe. Praise be to God. I'll start by saying it's so difficult to summarize an entire life of grace and God's faithfulness in one testimony. But I'll share about God's biggest achievement in my life so far, which has been helping me complete my medical studies and giving me a new title. My journey has had some character building moments for sure. And in fact, I fasted and prayed 7 days before I actually got an answer and a letter of acceptance from UCT to study medicine. This was actually my first choice, but by the time I got an answer, I had already been rejected by 5 other universities for my first choice, which was medicine. The day I made the phone call to UCT to get the status of my application was the day I broke my fast, because the Lord had surely answered me. Fast forward to medical school. By God's grace, my mom was able to pay for my first year of tuition through her catering business. This was in 2017. The following year, things weren't going very well for her or my dad financially. Now I wondered how I would complete my studies, but God is always thinking ahead of me. Because that year, the next year, I received a bursary from Ekurhuleni that paid for my tuition for the rest of my studies. But there's more. My mom and granny only struggled then to pay for my rent for the other 3 years because the bursary only paid for my tuition. And then this often put me in a position where I was fighting with my landlords about late rent, and I almost got evicted a few times. While all this is happening, my parents are separated. My eldest brothers are also struggling with drug addiction. And I tried a few options to fund my rent, like looking for other bursaries, and asked family members to help me get a loan, but no one was willing to or able to. Until 2020, during COVID, when I officially met the Jacobs, who are now my family. They welcomed me into their home as their daughter's au pair/tutor while the university was closed. And although I was already a member at Siloam and I had even served on the worship team, which I really miss, I wasn't well acquainted with Mama Janine and Pastor A. But they showed me so much love, and they trusted me with their daughters. They trusted me with their car and with their money. Because later that year, after sharing my challenges with Pastor Janine, she offered to be my surety for a student loan to pay for the rent for 2 years. I had offered to pay for the interest. That deserves a clap. I had offered to pay for the interest as a student, but she refused, and she insisted on taking care of it until I started working. I was overjoyed to the point of tears, because for a stranger at the time, to make that sacrifice for me when my family couldn't was massive. She was truly God-sent. And after this, I was stress-free about rent, and I was able to focus on my studies and just maintaining myself. In the meantime, I was doing nails, tutoring, coaching a school netball team, and I even started a medical scrubs company called Cerebella. All of these things on the side, part-time, while I was doing full-time medical studies, just to support myself and also help my family out when I could. And at times, I didn't have the end in sight. I was exhausted a lot of the time. It felt lonely because I didn't have any other help, like from my family. Couldn't rely on my older brothers because they were also struggling with their addiction. And in this time, God really carried me and met all my needs, sometimes through other strangers and then also through the multiple streams that I was involving myself in. Then around about 5th year, there was my worship leader at the time, Christabel, from the church that I was attending in Cape Town. She came up to me one day without really knowing all of these problems and all that I was going through. And she had said to me that God laid it on her heart to send me 500 Rand every month without expecting anything. And at the time, I mean, someone else would think that that's nothing, but it meant so much to me and it went such a long way. And again, God was providing for me when I needed it most. Fast forward to 2023, I graduated. Wait, before you clap, there's more. I graduated with a bachelor in medicine and surgery with honors, aka cum laude.
Okay, now. There really was more.
There really was. From the best university in the country. In record time, despite everything that I faced, God made it happen. I became Dr. Sonwabo Gladys Osigwe, the first of my name and the first medical doctor in my family. And now there's even more that I can testify about because God has put me in a position to be a blessing to my family and others. And I've been able to pay for my younger brother's education in his first year. My parents have reconciled. My brothers are now recovering addicts. They're getting help and healing. God is healing them, and my mom's catering business is also picking up, and I was able to send my dad overseas where he's now earning a living and able to support and help out the side. I'm paying off my student loan. I'm driving a car that I bought myself, and God is using me to be a blessing and bring healing even in healthcare. And I know there's so much more if I continue to walk with God and be brave.
Amen. Glory be to God. I think just to sum it up as quickly as we possibly can, what is one lesson that you say kind of stood out for you in God's faithfulness and in your journey?
So I would say that sometimes God's rejection is his protection. We've heard that a lot because he has something better in store for you. When I was rejected by all those other universities, I could have settled for my second or third choice and tried to find my own way to get back to the plan that I wanted. But I waited on God and he answered me with the best answer possible. And just to mention this, my grandmother from Nigeria, my dad is Nigerian, my mom's South African. My grandmother named me Chinecherem, which means God is mindful of me or thinking of me. And this is a constant reminder that God is concerned with everything regarding me. And he's always ahead of me in his plans and thoughts for me. And this is true for all of us.
Amen. To God be the glory.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for sharing your testimony with us. And I know a lot of us are definitely encouraged to see that God really does take you through. He doesn't leave you somewhere in the middle. He doesn't leave you stranded. He always brings his divine way into place, and he continues to be faithful. So ladies and gentlemen, as you continue with the service, continue to trust God and he will be faithful to you.